Here's more wrestling news for February 8th, 2023, and we're starting off with Alexa Bliss, who came up short in her pursuit of the Raw Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble and hasn't competed since her loss to Bianca Belair. After that match, Belair had an eerie moment with Uncle Howdy, leaving fans wondering what's next, but whatever comes, the audience will have to wait. During PW Insider's Elite Audio, Mike Johnson said that Bliss has not been at any WWE event since the Rumble, and that she's officially off TV and is taking a break. While there's no word on just how long her break will last, we can confirm that she is not injured, which is great news, so she might have just needed some time away to avoid burnout. If the Royal Rumble is any indication where Uncle Howdy asked if she felt in charge, fans can expect a much different Bliss whenever she's back on our screens. As to whether Bliss returns in time for WrestleMania, only time will tell, but fans have not seen the last of the goddess of WWE and her connection to Uncle Howdy. In the weeks running up to the Royal Rumble, a series of videos hyped up the return of Cody Rhodes, and it turns out that these videos came from one of the top names in WWE. Speaking to Inside the Ropes, Cody explained that the videos were the idea of Triple H and gave a shout out to the video production team, including Colleen, Adam Panucci, Ben Williams, and ex-TNA name Jeremy Borash. Rhodes added the WWE covered his recovery in such a real way and spoke about the importance of keeping a promise to the fans to return to the best shape possible. While some have questioned WWE promoting Rhodes' return, those in the company thought that since he was an obvious winner, it made sense. And now the American Nightmare is on the road to the biggest match of his life at WrestleMania 39. In 1999, Triple H crashed the on-screen wedding of Stephanie McMahon and Tess to reveal he had already married the boss's daughter, and the two married for real in late 2003. During his on-screen relationship with Stephanie, though, the game dated Joni Laurer, aka Chyna, from 1996 to 2000, and she accused Triple H of cheating on her, claiming that she found a real love note by Stephanie addressed to him. It wasn't long after Stephanie and Triple H began dating in real life that Chyna was out of the company, and speaking during an episode of Howard Stern, the game addressed the infidelity allegation. There's a misconception of the way that things ended with us, but it was our relationship had gone downhill. There's a period of time where we were separated and things happened in between, and then you kind of partway get back together, and it really wasn't a full-blown relationship at that time. Technically you weren't cheating. Yeah, I don't see things the same way she does. In 2003, Stephanie appeared on the show herself and admitted that she did have a real crush on Triple H during the beginnings of their on-screen relationship. Chyna isn't the only one to make this accusation against Triple H, as her former manager Anthony Anzaldo also accused the game of infidelity and alleged that he sabotaged Chyna's wrestling career by trying to get her fired and publicly degrading her. Sadly, Chyna died in April of 2016, and when asked about her not going into the Hall of Fame, Triple H alluded to her history in adult film, a claim that rings hollow considering X-Pac was in a sex tape with Chyna, and he's been inducted twice. While Chyna did eventually receive an induction, it was only after her death and only as part of DX, and it's sadly too late for everyone involved to make amends. For much of 2022, the Blackpool Combat Club and the Jericho Appreciation Society were at war, with the two sides meeting in several stipulation matches. Perhaps the most violent match between the two factions was the Blood and Guts match, which had one member of the JAS feeling his time was up. Speaking on the Swerve City podcast, Angelo Parker spoke about how much he bled in the match and how when he was hanging upside down for one spot, he could just see all his blood pouring out of his body. Parker said that there was a time when he felt like he would legitimately pass away from the blood loss, which thankfully did not happen. Parker added that it was wild to think about how a year and a half before that match, he was trying to stand out on YouTube, and by time Blood and Guts came about, he was hanging with close to half a dozen former world champions. Angelo Parker will be on tonight's Dynamite, where he'll participate in the Garcia Guevara Gauntlet against Ricky Starks, and we can only imagine that this match won't leave Parker questioning his mortality like Blood and Guts did last year. In 2020, mere weeks after departing WWE, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler showed up in AEW, and it wasn't long until the pair were tag team champions. Since then, FTR have worked with some incredible teams, but recently, Harwood opened up about his issues with one said team, as well as Tony Khan. On his FTR podcast, Harwood has said that he had tensions in the past with Khan and the Young Bucks, as when he and Wheeler joined, he was told the tag division would be built around two teams, FTR and the Young Bucks. Harwood added that he felt lied to at the time, which caused his relationship with Khan and the Bucks to deteriorate, but admits that it was his anxiety that was making things bad for him, not the Jackson brothers or the boss. Right now, Harwood is away from AEW as both he and Wheeler's contracts expire later this year. And do you think they should resign with AEW or try their luck in another company? Next Saturday, WWE will host its Elimination Chamber event, but neither Raw or SmackDown women's titles will be defended in the Chamber matches. Instead, 6 women will compete for a chance to face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 39 for the Raw women's title, and the fans know who they're rooting for. On Twitter, fans called on WWE to give Liv Morgan the win, with one fan saying Liv or we Riot. Morgan did finally win WWE Gold last year, capturing the SmackDown Women's title after cashing in Money in the Bank, but her reign hardly met expectations, with the consensus that her win and title retention at SummerSlam was down to luck over skill. Liv Morgan is one of the 6 in the Women's Chamber match, but she'll have to face off with Natalya, Carmella, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, and Asuka if she wants to make it to WrestleMania 39. Since Mandy Rose lost her job with WWE, the former superstar is doing incredibly well for herself with her FanTime account, which isn't just about sharing photos and videos. In addition to sharing content, the account allows fans to chat with Rose directly, and as you'd expect, the Toxic Attraction alum receives a lot of requests by her audience. Speaking on the sessions, Rose explained that when it comes to her account, her fiancé Tino Sabatelli has been incredibly supportive, but there is a line in the sand she will not cross. So he's just very comfortable and he's very supportive and knows that it's lucrative for me. Of course, there are lines we draw though, like he's not okay with me going there and showing, full nudity. Not that I will do that, but I show him stuff, we go through things together. With the amount of money Rose has been making through her website, there have been questions as to whether she'll choose to wrestle again once her non-compete clause expires, but any fan who wishes to see this content should know that going fully nude is off the table. During this week's Raw, WWE Hall of Famer Lita made her return to TV, setting her sights on Damage Control and costing Bayley her steel cage match with Becky Lynch. This week's Raw also saw Carmella make her in-ring return, competing for the first time since August of last year, and she had a unique attire most fans would overlook. Speaking after her match with Kathy Kelly, the Staten Island Princess explained that she always tries to have an inspiration for significant in-ring gear, and this week's inspiration was Lita. Carmella spent months away from the ring after suffering an injury and would sadly experience her ectopic pregnancy ending during her time away, but now the Raw superstar is looking to the future and getting back in the title picture. Now, in the run-up to the Royal Rumble, Matt Cardona had been teasing a return to the promotion over 2 years after his tenure as Zack Ryder ended in April 2020. Of course, Cardona didn't appear at the Rumble, though his wife Chelsea Green did, and now the former United States champion has hit another roadblock. It was in January that Cardona attempted to trademark some of his WWE catchphrases, including the Zack Ryder name, as well as the term "woo woo woo, you know it." When GCW recently announced that Cardona would be facing Nick Wayne at their Middle of the Night event on February 18th, Wayne jokingly responded with excitement about facing Zack Ryder. In rebuttal, Cardona said his filing for the trademark on the name got denied, but had some new nicknames, calling himself the Indie God, the Deathmatch King, and the King of the Sea. The last moniker is because Cardona captured the Oceanic Championship on the recent Chris Jericho cruise, and given the success he's had since his WWE release, Cardona would be wise to leave Zack Ryder in the past. And we're ending today with Booker T, who made his in-ring return last month, competing as one of the 30 men in the Men's Royal Rumble match. This brief performance in the match was Booker's first WWE match in over a decade, and according to the man himself, was his last time stepping in the ring as a wrestler. On his podcast, Booker stated that the Rumble match was the last time he'd lace up his boots as a wrestler, but will now dedicate his time working with his students at Reality of Wrestling. Booker was somewhat choked up about the end of his career and said that it's the last time he feels he was able to go at the level he wanted. Booker's career in wrestling began in 1986 when he stepped into a wrestling school run by Ivan Putski in Houston, so it's only fitting that his career, in ring at least, ended in the Lone Star State he calls home.